Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how to create an unbreakable Vlookup formula. In cell M1 I have an employee code. The employee codes are all listed in the first column of my lookup table. And what's happening is that when I put the code into cell M1, Excel finds the related name and the salary using a Vlookup. You can see the Vlookup at the top. There's also another function in there called match, which I'm going to show you shortly. So if you haven't seen a Vlookup before, here's a basic example of how to do a Vlookup. So we're going to use the FX button to insert function and then select the Vlookup function at the top of the list. So the lookup value is the value that you want to search for in the first column of your table. And in our case, that's cell M1. It's the employee number. So I'm clicking onto that and I'm going to press F4, which is the shortcut key to make that cell absolute, just in case we want to copy it elsewhere. The table array, I've set up a named range. Now to reference a named range in a formula, if we press F3, it pulls through a list of all the ranges stored in the active workbook, and the one that I'm going to select is my lookup table. The column index number tells Excel which column to find a corresponding value. So it searches for the employee number in the first column, and then it finds a corresponding value using the column index number. The column index number must contain a number and not a letter. So the column which contains the departments in this example is the 8th column across in the lookup table. So I would key in an 8. And the range lookup tells Excel whether to find an approximate or an exact match for the code. So we're going to say we want to find an exact match by entering the value 0. So that's showing me that the department is sales. Now one of the problems if you have a lookup table and you insert or delete columns, so if I demonstrate here, I'm just going to take out the job title column. You can see that the department is now showing 42. It's still looking at the 8th column in the lookup table, but now that we've removed a column, column number 8 contains the age. So that clearly isn't going to work. So an alternative to using a Vlookup with a hard-coded column index number is to use a function called match. And I'm going to show you this function standalone, and then we're going to nest it inside our Vlookup. The match function is going to search for the text department. It doesn't matter where it is, as long as we tell it the range that it needs to reference. So the match function looks like this. We specify a lookup value, and in this case the lookup value is going to be the title of the heading that I want to find. And I'm using text qualifiers, which are speech marks, to tell Excel that it's looking for text, followed by a comma. The lookup array is going to be all of the headings across the top. In other words, where do we need to look to find the department heading? And I'm also going to press F4 to make that range absolute, just in case we want to copy it elsewhere to keep the range constant. Another comma, and then the match type is a 0. To tell Excel to find an exact match for the text department, followed by a bracket. So that's telling me that department is in the 8th column, or the 8th cell in the range that we specified. I can then very simply take the match function and copy it, and I can paste it into my Vlookup formula. Rather than having a hard-coded column index number, it's now searching for the actual column title. If I now add or remove a column, it doesn't break the table. So that's how to use a VLOOKUP formula with a match function. Thanks for listening.